Want to create this kind of effects in DaVinci Resolve? You are in the right place. Today we are going to learn how you can create this kind of animations in DaVinci Resolve very easily. So without wasting any time, let's get started. So in the edit page, go to the effects and search for Fusion Composition. Drag drop to your timeline. Now open in the Fusion page. Now we have to add a P emitter, a P turbulence, then P merge, and finally add a P render. Connect the output with the media out. Now select the P emitter and set the region to Bezier. Now you have see in the preview window we have this plus icon, and select your mouse to create a wavy path like this. You just have to hold your mouse and you can draw this kind of circular path. Now select the style to blob, and in the size controls set the size around 0.35 and increase the size variance to 0.5. Now in the fade control, set the fade in value to 0.1 and fade out value to 0.9. Now in the controls, increase the number around 40 and set the lifespan to 50. Now in the velocity, set the velocity variable around 0.01 and set the velocity variance to 0.017. Now copy the P emitter and P turbulence and paste it. Now connect this with the P merge. Now select the second P emitter and in the style decrease the size a little bit and in the controls increase the number value to 70 and set the lifespan to 25. Now set the velocity level to 0.008. As we have copied this from the P emitter 1, so it also copied the path, so we have to remove the path and draw a new one. After removing the path, we have to do a single thing. We have to move our playhead few frames forward to see the first P emitter 1 path. Now we have do the second path in this kind of order, so it will look nice in the effects. As you see. Now in the p-render, set the pre-generate frame to 100. Now after the p-render, add a merge and set the center exposition to 1.155. Now in the blank space, add a blur node and now connect the merge on output with this blur. Now increase the blur size around 5 and copy this and paste after the blur. Now increase the blur size here and decrease the blend. Again copy and paste and increase the blur size and decrease the blend. Now add a brightness and contrast, increase the gain value. Now adjust the gamma value to 2.5 and check the all three option in the bottom. Now after it, add a first noise. It will automatically add a merge. Now after the first noise, add another brightness and contrast and tick on the three options and set the gamma value to 0.5. Now connect this merge to between the merge 1 and media out and connect the first brightness control with the first noise. Now in the first noise, set the center X value to 0.36 and add expression time by 300, 0.5. Now increase the detail to 10 and decrease the contrast value and scale it up and check these two options. Also increase the seed rate around 0.157. Now after the merge to add a image plane 3D and untick the lock width and height option, set the width to 40 and height around 20. Now after it, add a Blender 3D, set the axis to X, amount should be 1 and tick on the group objects. Now add a transform 3D and adjust its Y value little bit. Now we have to add a duplicate 3D node and set the copies to 6. And decrease the scale value around 0.631 and in the jitter set the rotation jitter to XYZ around 15. Now after it, add a merge 3D and in this blank space add another P emitter and a P render, connect the output with the merge 3D. Now add another shape 3D and connect the output with the merge 3D. Now add a first noise and after that add another shape 3D and connect the output with the merge 3D. And finally add a camera 3D and connect this with the merge 3D. Now go to the first noise and set the Y value to 0.0 and add a expression of 0.5 comma time by 500. Now set the details to 10 and untick the lock XY option. Set the X scale to 0 and Y scale to 500. Now in the shape 3D, select the shape to cylinder and decrease the radius and increase the height to 10. Now in the transform, descale its value now go to this shape 3D and set the shape to echo and set the size to 0.001 and set the subdivisions 9. Now in the material set the red, green and blue value to 2.0 and in the specular set the intensity value to 0 and in the transform scale up its value. Now go to the camera 3D and repositioning our camera to get a camera movement and a smooth zoom in animation. So we have to set the keyframes. I only do keyframes for Y positions, X, Y, X and Z positions should be still. As you can see, you can copy this and do experiment later. Now go to the P emitter and increase its size to 1.0 and adjust its position more likely same to the camera, but the Y offset keyframes should be vice versa. So here's the last frame is the camera's first frame. Now go to the style and set the style to n-gon and select this fifth option and select the size to 0.0019 and in the controls increase the number, set the number variance to 100, lifespan 150 and in the velocity set the velocity value to 0.213 and also increase the velocity variance. Now set the angle around 271. Now after the merge 3D add a renderer 3D and set the render type to hardware renderer. Now in the anti-aliasing untick the low Q option and expand the anti-aliasing presets. Here you can set the high Q rate to now connect it with the media out to see the outputs. Okay, we have done a mistake here, so in the camera we have to make sure that you have checked the use target option, otherwise your subject will be defocused. Now our main thing is proper in the frame. As you see, now untick the checker ground option so the result will be more clear. Now after the render 3D add a color corrector node and desaturate it and also adjust the gamma. Then add a first noise node and increase its detail around 9.5. Also increase the contrast value and scale it up around 7 and select the color to gradient and set the color to black and transparent. Now in the merge 3D, set the apply mode to overlay and decrease the gain around 0.44. Now after the merge 3, add another color corrector and set the range to mid-tones and change the hue to 0.85 and saturation to 2.0 and also change the gamma to zero point 0.8. And now we have to do some few final steps. So after it, add a variable and set the quality to 2, adjust the blur size 0.47 around, decrease the blur limit. Now add a dream glow node and change the exposure value around 0.25, increase the quality to 9 and then add a glint node and decrease the brightness value. Okay, I hope our animation is ready to go. Let's see how it's looking on the big screen. Okay, so we have done very well and it looks gorgeous. So if you learned anything from this, make sure you should subscribe, like. I will see you in the next one.